All right, so get this. The U.S. is officially holding Bitcoin.
Really?
Yeah, it's wild, right?
Wow.
We're going to be diving into some excerpts from this article. U.S. Bitcoin Reserve announcement and market reaction to try and figure out, what's really going on with this whole President Trump executive order thing
Yeah.
and why everyone's talking about it.
It's definitely created a lot of buzz, that's for sure.
For sure.
What's interesting to me is that the order itself isn't about buying new Bitcoin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Instead, it establishes this strategic reserve.
Okay.
Using Bitcoin, the government already has. So primarily coins seized in past law enforcement actions.
So wait, the government's just been sitting on a pile of Bitcoin this whole time?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that's not exactly how I pictured a U.S. Bitcoin strategy would play out.
Right. It definitely caught a lot of people off guard.
Yeah.
There was so much speculation that the U.S. would start actively buying and, pushing prices up.
Right.
But as David Sachs, the White House crypto and AI czar pointed out, this reserve is budget neutral. So essentially, it just leverages existing assets rather than requiring, new spending.
So that explains the initial market dip then?
Yeah, I think so.
Investors were hoping for that buying frenzy
Exactly.
that never materialized?
Yeah.
But how much Bitcoin are we even talking about here?
Well, according to the article, the U.S. currently holds over 198,000 Bitcoins.
Wow.
Which at current prices, that's a stash worth roughly $17 billion.
Okay, that's a lot more than just spare change.
Definitely not pocket change, no.
And it's not just Bitcoin, right? I mean, we've all heard whispers about the government seizing other cryptocurrencies, too.
Yeah, you're right. The government also has a stockpile of other cryptocurrencies, like Ether, obtained through similar law enforcement actions.
So if they already had all this Bitcoin, why make such a big deal about a reserve now? What's the message they're really trying to send?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It seems like, the White House wants to signal a shift in their stance towards cryptocurrency. This isn't just about holding on to some confiscated assets.
Right.
It's about strategically positioning them, suggesting a belief in the long-term value of Bitcoin.
Which could have huge implications, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, this is essentially an endorsement of cryptocurrency coming from the highest levels of the U.S. government.
Exactly.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal, but of course the market reaction has been anything but straightforward.
Yeah, the article mentions this initial drop followed by a partial recovery.
Right.
It's like the market couldn't quite decide how to react.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Rachel Lynn, CEO of a decentralized exchange, she was quoted saying that, although the price is partially recovered, the lack of new demand and uncertainty about future government actions are preventing a significant rally.
So good news in principle, but maybe not the dramatic price surge that some were hoping for.
Exactly, as Stephen Lupka, head of private clients at Swan Bitcoin, puts it, it is good news, but not what the market wanted in the short term. People were hoping for near-term buy pressure.
It's interesting, though, because even though the U.S. isn't actively buying Bitcoin right now, the door is clearly still open for that to happen in the future.
Oh, yeah. You're absolutely right. The executive order specifically calls on the Treasury and Commerce secretaries to develop budget-neutral strategies to acquire more Bitcoin down the line.
And then there's Treasury Secretary Bessent's stance.
Right.
I mean, he's made it pretty clear that he's a strong advocate for the U.S. taking a leading role in the crypto space. He's even talking about halting the sale of existing Bitcoin holdings.
Whoa.
Plus, there's that crypto summit coming up, which should give us more insight into the government's long-term plans.
It'll be interesting to see what comes out of that, for sure.
Yeah.
But, it's important to remember that this announcement didn't happen in a vacuum. We're in the middle of some pretty significant economic uncertainty.
All right.
Tariff wars, inflation concerns, you name it.
Right, like that J.P. Morgan analysis
Exactly.
predicting that those factors are going to outweigh any potential crypto surge in the near term.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point. So while the establishment of a U.S. Bitcoin reserve is a significant development, its long-term impact is going to depend on a lot of factors, not just the reserve itself.
For sure.
It's a complex situation.
Definitely. It really makes you wonder about the future of Bitcoin, doesn't it?
It does.
I mean, the whole idea of cryptocurrency was, this decentralized system free from government control.
Right.
Now we have the U.S. stepping in, treating Bitcoin like a strategic asset.
It definitely challenges some of the fundamental assumptions surrounding cryptocurrency, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, this move raises some interesting questions about, how governments might integrate Bitcoin into their existing financial frameworks.
Right. Could we see other countries following suit,
Yeah, exactly.
establishing their own reserve?
It's certainly possible.
Like, what happens if this becomes a global trend?
That's a good question.
How would that impact the value of Bitcoin?
It's fascinating to consider. Think about it. If governments start accumulating Bitcoin on a large scale, it could potentially legitimize it in the eyes of, traditional investors who have been hesitant to jump into the crypto market.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
We've always heard about, institutional investors dipping their toes into crypto.
Yeah,
But this could be the catalyst that really opens the floodgates.
it could be.
Imagine pension funds, hedge funds, even central banks adding Bitcoin to their portfolios.
Right, exactly. And that influx of capital could have a dramatic impact on the market.
For sure.
It could lead to increased stability, or it could fuel even more volatility. It's hard to say for sure,
Yeah. Who knows?
but it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Of course, there are still plenty of skeptics out there.
Oh, yeah, of course.
People who see Bitcoin as too risky, too volatile, too tied to illicit activities.
Yeah, those concerns are understandable.
Right.
But what's undeniable is that this move by the U.S. government adds a whole new layer of complexity to the narrative. It forces us to reevaluate our understanding of Bitcoin and its role in the global financial system.
It's like we're at a crossroads.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
Will this be the moment that propels Bitcoin into the mainstream?
Right.
Or will it ultimately fizzle out and become just another footnote in financial history?
It's impossible to predict with certainty, but it's precisely this unpredictability that makes the cryptocurrency space so captivating.
I agree.
It demands that we stay informed, critically assess the information, and remain open to new possibilities.
We've talked a lot about the potential impact on the market,
Yeah,
and the global financial system.
right.
But what about the average person?
Yeah,
What does this all mean for someone who's maybe just starting to learn about Bitcoin?
that's a really important question.
Yeah.
I think the key takeaway for anyone interested in the space is that knowledge is power.
Okay.
The more you understand about cryptocurrency, the better equipped you'll be to navigate this evolving landscape.
And it's not just about understanding the technology behind Bitcoin. It's about understanding the broader implications, the economic, political, and social forces at play.
Exactly. This move by the U.S. government highlights the fact that cryptocurrency is no longer a niche topic.
Right.
It's intertwined with global finance, geopolitics, and even our everyday lives.
So for our listeners who are maybe feeling a little overwhelmed by all of this,
Yeah.
what's the one piece of advice you would give them?
Hmm.
Where should they start?
I would say focus on the fundamentals,
Okay.
learn about the underlying technology, understand the different types of cryptocurrencies, and explore the potential use cases.
Oh, okay.
The more you learn, the more confident you'll become in navigating this exciting and rapidly evolving world.
And remember, this is a journey, not a destination.
That's right.
The cryptocurrency landscape is constantly changing. So stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, don't be afraid to ask questions.
Absolutely. That's the best way to approach any new and complex subject.
Right.
Embrace the learning process and enjoy the ride.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. The U.S. creating this Bitcoin reserve, the market's mixed reaction, the potential for other countries to follow suit. It feels like we're really witnessing a major shift in how governments view cryptocurrency.
Yeah, it's a moment that definitely demands our attention. This move by the U.S. has the potential to reshape the whole landscape, and not just for Bitcoin.
Right.
It raises all these questions about the future of finance, global power dynamics, even the nature of money itself.
It's almost like watching this game of chess play out on a global scale, with each move having these unpredictable consequences.
That's a great analogy, and what's so intriguing is that nobody really seems to have all the answers yet.
Right?
We're all just kind of trying to make sense of this new reality where governments, traditional institutions, and this decentralized technology are all converging.
Yeah, and that uncertainty can be a little unsettling, but it also makes this whole space so exciting.
Absolutely.
It's like we're on the cusp of something huge.
It's important to remember, though, that we're still in the early stages of this whole evolution.
Right.
The way governments and institutions interact with cryptocurrency is likely to, continue to evolve and adapt over time.
So for our listeners out there who are trying to grasp the significance of all this, what's the one key takeaway you would want them to remember?
I'd say pay attention to the wider implications. This isn't just about the price of Bitcoin going up or down. It's about understanding the potential of this technology to, disrupt existing systems and create new possibilities.
And what about the risks? I mean, we can't ignore the fact that cryptocurrency has been associated with volatility scams and even illicit activities.
Oh, absolutely. It's crucial to approach this space with, a healthy dose of skepticism
Right.
and to do your own research. Don't fall for hype or promises of easy riches. Understand the risks, be aware of the potential pitfalls, and make informed decisions.
The knowledge is power, as they say.
Exactly.
The more you understand, the better equipped you'll be to navigate this complex and ever-changing world.
Precisely. And as we've seen with this recent development, the landscape can shift dramatically in a very short period of time.
Right.
Staying informed is key to understanding the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead.
This whole situation has definitely given us a lot to think about.
It
It sparks so many questions about the future of finance, the role of governments, and the power of technology to reshape our world.
And those are exactly the kinds of questions we should all be asking ourselves. This is a moment of great change and uncertainty, but it's also a moment of immense opportunity.
Yeah.
By engaging with these issues, by seeking out knowledge, and by challenging our assumptions, we can all play a role in shaping the future of this transformative technology.
Well said. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the U.S. Bitcoin Reserve. We hope this conversation has given you some food for thought and perhaps even inspired you to explore this fascinating world further. Until next time, keep diving deep.